You'd think with the big budgets that some animated movies have that they would at least check them before releasing them in theaters. But some animators made such egregious mistakes that we have to wonder if they were done on purpose. If you missed these glaring mistakes the first time around, don't worry. We will point them out for you. Don't make the mistake of missing out on the latest from the richest. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See if one of your comments made it to our viewer shoutout during the video. Zootopia. In the hit movie Zootopia, Judy Hopps has a lot of things she wants to improve in Zootopia, so maybe she was too busy to notice all of the little errors. When she chases down Duke Weaselton, he falls behind a donut sign, dropping a huge orange bag. But when we see Judy running, the bag is somehow farther down the road from where it was dropped. When the donut moves, the bag disappears entirely, only to magically reappear after Judy saves Frou Frou. That's quite a lot of action for a single duffel bag. During the heart-wrenching scene where Mrs. Otterton appeals to Chief Bogo, she's seen holding her family photo as well as her purse. However, during a close-up shot, the purse is magically gone somehow. But don't worry, just like the orange bag, it manages to reappear later in another shot. When we see Judy moving into her luxury apartment, we also experience an apparently magical door. When Judy heads off to work, we see that the deadbolt lock is higher up on the door than it should be. However, it seems to slide down into place later on as Judy opens the door. Finding Nemo. This one was a mistake that was done for aesthetic purposes. Remember when the fish were fighting desperately in order to drag down the net that they were caught in? However, none of them seemed to actually be touching the net, and if this were really happening, you'd expect some squished fish pressed against the net. In addition to this unrealistic scene in a movie about talking fish, there are some continuity errors as well. At the dentist's office, there is a poster on the wall that says, "For a bite that counts, alligator floss." However, when a pelican suddenly bursts in, the poster completely disappears. It reappears moments later as if it were never gone at all. There's another error at the dentist's office as well. When the dentist tries to capture Nemo in a little plastic bag, at first he uses a bag with a zipper on the top. But by the time he manages to scoop up Nemo, it's just a standard plastic bag with no zipper. Kind of a strange choice to change your instrument mid-fish chase. Frozen. Everyone loves Frozen. And while you might be willing to say let it go to these mistakes, we are having trouble looking past them. In fact, during that incredibly catchy song that we can't get enough of, Elsa releases her cloak into the air, and it shows that she's pretty close to a gap in the ground. However, as she continues the song, she moves forward past the point where she should have realistically come up to the edge of the gap. Instead, she runs over a hill that magically appeared out of nowhere before eventually creating steps and crossing the gap. We suppose the movie would have been a lot shorter if Elsa just fell into the gap and to her doom, but it still seems like they could have set this up a little better. Speaking of falling, when Anna and Kristoff take a tumble off the cliff, they're still tied up with rope. But upon landing, the rope is mysteriously gone. Frozen even made a controversial appearance in another film, Coco. Audiences were upset when a 20-minute Frozen short was shown before the movie that they paid to see. The backlash was so severe that they stopped showing the short and got right into Coco. Beauty and the Beast. For a long-beloved Disney classic, Beauty and the Beast is full of mistakes that you might not have ever noticed when you watched it as a kid. The first time Belle meets the cheerful Mrs. Potts, the teapot tells her that everything will turn out all right. But as she adds, "You'll see," her mouth remains firmly closed. Earlier in the movie, when Gaston proposes to Belle, she passes in front of a mirror, but she has no reflection. Yet when Gaston passes by a few moments later, he does have a reflection. Is Belle a vampire? That would add a rather unexpected twist to this tale as old as time. But we're guessing it's just a mistake on the part of the animators. Unless we have caught further evidence of vampiric activity when Belle tends to Beast's wounds following a wolf attack. At first, Beast has 3 slash marks, but after Belle tends to his wounds, he has 4. They also couldn't decide how much mud Gaston should have on his boots. When he enters the inn, they're squeaky clean, but when he puts them on the table, they're suddenly covered in mud. Then the amount of mud piling up seems to change in various shots. We want to take a moment and give a shout out to our viewer, Hashfardhan Singh, who says, "This channel is all I need on YouTube. Love from India." Thanks for watching, friend, and be sure to stick around for all of our future releases. The Little Mermaid. There are a large number of mistakes in the classic movie The Little Mermaid. When Ariel is transfixed by the sailors dancing and Max licks her cheek, she wipes off the wrong cheek in response. Later, when King Triton destroys the stone statue of Eric, you can see the face explode just like the rest of it. Yet when Ariel makes up her mind to visit Ursula, the face of the statue has somehow become whole once again. Maybe there is some magic going on with that statue. Even Ariel's beloved dinglehopper, fork, seems to have something going on with it. When she first sees it, it has 4 prongs. Yet when she picks it up, it's revealed to only have 3 prongs. Hercules. It pains us to point out flaws in a movie where the beloved Danny DeVito plays a satyr, but we must. In fact, one of the many mistakes in Hercules involves his character, Phil, getting in a fight and acquiring a black eye in the process. But moments later, the black eye has vanished, never to reappear. We guess that's just some old-fashioned Disney magic, since a main character sporting a shiner the whole film wouldn't be very magical. There are a lot of errors in this movie, starting with Hercules' name. His Greek name is Heracles, after Zeus's wife, Hera, and everything else in the movie is very clearly set in ancient Greece. When the gods are celebrating Hercules' return, Hermes is throwing red flowers out to the crowd. Yet somehow, Phil catches a yellow one. During the scene where Hercules and Phil are flying over Thebes, you can clearly see the ocean. However, a quick consultation with a map shows that Thebes is nowhere near the ocean. The Lion King. There are a lot of different creatures in The Lion King, so much research was done to get them just right. Well, except when they decided to just ignore animal facts. Rafiki is supposed to be a type of primate called a mandrill, but the thing is, mandrills don't have tails. One animator confessed that he was aware that they don't have tails, but added one anyway to make them appear more like what most people imagine when they picture monkeys. Another animal mishap is when Simba and Nala meet as adults. They rub their heads together and purr. It's a sweet moment, but factually inaccurate. Lions can purr, but only when they exhale, whereas Simba and Nala were purring in a manner similar to house cats. When Mufasa shows Simba the Pride Lands, the pair are facing east due to the rising sun. Simba questions Mufasa about that shadowy place to their right, but later Scar refers to that place as along the northern border. But if it was on the right when they were facing east, that would put the shadowy place on the southern border, not the northern one. Monsters, Inc. In the movie Monsters, Inc., Boo is playing hide-and-seek with Sully. She's able to laugh without causing any surges of electricity, which occurs other times when she laughs throughout the movie. This was done because the directors felt it would be too distracting if it happened too much. So it was just never explained, and they sort of hoped that nobody would notice. For some reason, the team behind Monsters, Inc. also decided to omit Tasmania from the world map on the scare floor. There's another decorating error in the scaring simulation room if you look at the alphabet wallpaper border. The J is backwards for some reason. When Mike shows Sully the fixed door, his hands and arms are in good condition. But moments later, it's revealed that he has managed to injure himself in the process of putting the door back together. Despicable Me. During Despicable Me, we see the Jumbotron in Times Square displaying a message beneath it. Some of the letters have sections missing, presumably to represent broken bulbs. But that's not how they work. The missing part wouldn't have scrolled with the message. They would have always been missing no matter what letter was passing by that bulb, as the constant switching is what represents movement. Before Gru launches his rocket, he tucks the girls into bed and Dr. Nefario tells him that it will launch in 48 hours. If that's the case, then it should have been launched in the evening. Yet we see it take off during the day. Now, do some of us feel that the very existence of minions was a mistake of epic proportions? Yes, but let's focus on this animation mistake instead. At one point, we see a torpedo being held by a rather tall minion. But after it fires, it then appears that a small minion was holding it the whole time. Mulan. Just before Shang promises to make a man out of everyone in Mulan, he shoots an arrow into the top of a pole with the intention of getting someone to retrieve it. However, despite launching the arrow from below, it's stuck firmly into the wood in a horizontal position. To do this, it would have had to have been shot at a perfect arc when its kinetic energy would be at its weakest. This makes it incredibly unlikely that it would have bored into the wood the way that we see it. Also, there are a lot of girls who would like to know Mulan's makeup removal secrets. When we see her remove her makeup with her sleeve, we then see the sleeve completely clean with not even the slightest smudge of lipstick. In another scene, Mulan cuts Khan free with her sword before climbing on his back and racing away from the flaming wagon. We see the reins in her left hand and the sword in her right, except in the next shot, the sword has somehow managed to sheathe itself. So, did you notice any of these mistakes when you watched these movies? Or are there any mistakes that we missed? Be sure to let us know all about them in the comments section, and like this video while you're at it. Make sure you're subscribed to The Richest so you don't miss out on our next great video. Thank you, as always, so much for watching, and hey, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!